Hey everybody, welcome back to Jeff Bowles Central. I wanted to check out this Robocop game from last year for y'all, here for Jeff Bowles Central for this video. This is Robocop Rogue City. I didn't get to play it last year when it really came out. There was just other stuff on my release radar that was a little bit more pressing for me personally, but I did want to play it. And I knew that it'd go on sale eventually, and lo and behold, it sure did for the Xbox Series X, which is what I'm playing on here. So yeah, I checked it out, and I got a bunch of footage, and I wanted to talk about it. I mean, it's too late to like review it in the traditional consumer consumption model of reviewing things. But I can still talk about it, and if you haven't played it, or if you have and you want to talk about it a little bit, please do in the comments. But to my mind, this is a pretty successful movie tie-in game. I don't have to necessarily remind everybody that movie tie-ins of quality have been traditionally in the gaming business and the gaming industry a rarity for the most part, right? So when a good one is made, it's still, even though that they're better quality generally speaking than they were, say, 15, 20 years ago, it's worthy of celebration, I think. So this is a decent movie tie-in game to Robocop, yeah, to Alex Murphy, the murdered, the Slade police officer, who this kind of megalomaniacal evil corporation turns into a super android robot cop for the Detroit Police Department of all places. He's got a killer semi-automatic pistol that slays everybody dead, stores in his hip, pretty cool stuff like that. Robocop. But the reason I say it's a good movie tie-in is because, to my mind, the quality of a tie-in game to any kind of property, even if it's a book or a cartoon or whatever it is, it has to do with how well the developers kind of thought about the particulars of that thing, of that franchise, and engage with it in a gamified way, if that makes sense. So that, there's little things in here like, in between these killer first-person shooter slam dead tank missions that is Robocop. Basically, that's the game. You have these little moments, these little interludes where you're at the police station, which is beautifully recreated from the movie. It's the exact set of that police station from that first movie and the subsequent movies. But the thing is that you kind of get into these like little psychological tests, just to make sure, Alex is still tuned up, and they kind of get into the psychology of the guy, and you can kind of access his chip set and give him bonuses. It's an RPG as well as being a first-person shooter. There's tons of side missions. There's a huge amount of side missions. It's actually kind of surprisingly lengthy. I figured it'd be maybe like an 8-hour game. Not at all. Maybe like 10, 15 hours. Like I said, the reason it's a great movie tie-in is because it engages with the movie, okay? And it gamifies the things that I recognize as being in the movie. An Ed 209 attack, the giant walking robot things that go berserk all the time in these movies, hilariously so, right? The movie, the first Robocop, I just watched it the other day because I was playing this game, and I was like, I need to see the original Robocop. I haven't seen it in quite a few years. It holds up in the sense that it's just as much of a parody or a commentary as it is an action movie, because the action is ridiculous. It's over the top. It's crazy. Just like this game. If you look at the images of the actual bloodshed, the blood is ridiculous. It's just stupid levels of violence, right? And that was understood in the 80s to be a comment itself on action movies. The way that the corporation is used in the movie is just these sniveling, horrible, I don't want to get into it, but that's kind of how America saw corporations in the 80s. It's kind of how America still sees corporations, if I'm being honest. But the point is that you know, that movie, that first movie particularly, because that's the best one, it understood some things about commentary, you know, about pointing things out in society. And this game tries to do that. It at least has a sense of humor, which, you know, the films had kind of this kind of removed, dry, sometimes over the top sense of humor. So yeah, it's not like, it's not going to replace the movies, but it's a pretty good supplement to the movies. Now let's talk about the actual gameplay finally, because that's probably what you showed up for. 5 minutes in, good job. It very much plays like a I don't know if you're familiar with those old arcade cabinets from like the 80s and 90s where they were like a light gun shooter type scenario where you kind of moved from one little room to another and these guys would just pop out and you just blow them away, right? It very much plays like something like that from that era, which is really nice because it fits in with the whole, you know, era, the whole motif of the Robocop thing, right? And you're just a tank, man. Robocop is not some refined, swift Call of Duty soldier. He's not darting from cover to cover, sliding around, taking a few bullets and then out, and then he's dead. No, Robocop takes a beating. He takes a licking and keeps on ticking. And so your job is basically to be as precise with your gunfire as possible and as brutal and as quick as possible, because he also doesn't run. Robocop saunters at best. He thuds most of the time. Like, there's a beautiful magnetic thunking noise every time he takes a step throughout the entire game. It's so reminiscent of the movie. I love it. But, you know, like, you have these little health packet thingies, these little health vials that repair him when he's taken enough damage that you need to repair him. And there's plenty of them throughout the levels. The game can get challenging, like against the Ed 209s and stuff like that. It gets a little bit hard, but not really. This is a game where the challenge is not so much the point. Because who challenges Robocop realistically? Now, I know in every movie he gets his ass beat in the final thing, right? With the final bad guy and doing the thing. But my point is, do you want to be the tank, or do you want to be Call of Duty fast soldier running from cover to cover? I want to be the tank in this game. And that's what you get to be. So that's it, man. That's my qualifications for why it's actually a really, really successful movie tie-in game. Robocop Rogue City surprised me. It's a loving recreation. It does a lot of things system-wise, game-wise, that harken to the film specifically. And it's also really fun as a shooter, just running around, lumping around, thudding around these corridors, blowing these dudes away with all this magnificent, stupid amount of blood. There's something very 80s and very American, very Robocop about it. I really like this game. I think you should check it out if you get a chance. It's not really that expensive of a game, but it's actually bang for your buck. No pun intended. Yeah. Robocop Rogue City, there you go. Like this video if you did like it, subscribe to the channel, do all that stuff. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.